Hey guys, welcome to Fridays with Sue and Steph. And today, Steph had this great idea to talk about how much better we were at parenting than our own parents. That's what we
Wait,
said.
that wasn't the topic. The word I used was different. How
Oh,
different
yeah,
it was.
I just interpreted that to be
Mm.
improved. um, yeah, so, well, that might be the difference between our childhoods.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So,
funny.
well, first of all, there's a host of things that I said I would never do or
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
And for the most part, I think I lived up to it. But I also grew up in a little bit of a volatile home. So I didn't want that same vibe in my house. So I did, I'm sure there were plenty of things I said. I know my kids react to me the way I react to my mom.
That is so true.
Right. So I was at an event the other night, and an adult woman was sitting next to an older woman,
Okay.
and the older woman took her phone to take a video of the two people talking, and the person next to her said, "Put down your phone. Put down your phone. You're blocking people." And 2 minutes later, I leaned over and I said, "Hey, is that your daughter?" And she goes, "Yeah, why?" And I said, "Oh, only a daughter would turn to their mother. An adult child
Right.
is anyway, it's so funny. My kids they're a little better than they used to be. Like they don't I think my breathing doesn't bother them so
Yeah,
much.
I was just gonna say, right. That's right. Yeah, yeah, my breathing might still bother them. I have to think about that. Okay, so wait. I'm gonna add on to yours. One of the things I wrote was like, again, the things I wouldn't say, and mine fall into the more into the bucket of so dumb. Like that's so dumb. Why would you say that? Like, but now I say all of them. So like, they're either sayings that came like from the grandparents that were like, I thought they were so stupid. Now I'm at the age where I'm like, not only am I saying them, but I'm like, they're kind of true. Like, um, I'm trying to think of a good one. Oh, my mother used to always say to me, like, you have a mouth, use it. You have a mouth, use it. I'm like, of course I have a mouth. Like, what? Well, obviously I used it with my kids because I'll hear them telling friends, you have a mouth, use it. Now, there's no way that I'm getting the exact wording. I'm like, oh my God.
Your kids say that to their friends?
I was a witness
Wow.
to I was in the kitchen. I heard that one on FaceTime with a friend saying, like, the kid wanted to get something done. And she's like, you have a mouth, use it.
Wow. Hmm. Yeah, so I don't have those things. I have the aging things that everyone says, like where does the time go and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all those things that are just universally said. Because I think you don't feel it when you're younger. I heard someone talking about how a, the passage of time is based on the percentage of your life. So
Yeah.
when you're 10 years old, 2 months in the summer is a big chunk. But when you're my age, it's just really a drop in the bucket.
Like lunch to dinner.
In fact, so much so that we're taking a trip, and the tour guide said, "How old are you?" And I gave my age, and the response was, "The hike you want to take is really a little bit hard."
Well,
Like
you're like,
maybe
well, now
we're
I'm
too old.
definitely doing it. Like that would be just what I needed to hear. Are you kidding me?
I was like,
I'd be in
wow,
training right now for that hike if I heard that.
we're doing the hike. But I was like, wow, that age really made you think like Walker, like we're using walkers already, Anyway, so the thing that I would say that I wish was available to my family when my kids were younger was the freedom to just roam.
Yeah.
So that was my childhood. Like I was in a neighborhood that was a circle. And so there was, I mean, but I think everyone did it. It just happened to feel a little safer there. But we went out in the morning, we came back late at night, and
Same.
and the moms had bells, which I love, like to call us in.
Yeah.
And nobody knew what we were doing. And we weren't getting into trouble, but it was just there wasn't as much fear. And I think it was hard not to be fearful. And I think it's even harder now because the access to so much information. It feels like those people in that submarine felt like they were in my backyard, right? Like I'm watching the news and it's impacting my mood because I'm so heavily invested in the outcome. When I was a kid, you wouldn't have known it. You
Yeah.
wouldn't have seen it till it was maybe in the newspaper after the whole thing was over. But so I think that's one of the things, like, I like that. I think Shaker Heights has it in some places where the kids roam.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's funny. That's such a, that is so emblematic of the times. I wish I'd thought of that one, because that, I would say that is the, in my estimation, the biggest difference between my childhood and the current, how my kids were raised. But the other one I thought of was I'm looking at my list.
Also, people who are on right now, if you have something to add in the chat, we'll announce it. We'll let everyone know.
Okay, so I had the like whole coming back home. Like when we left for college, we never went back home. Like we went from college to our jobs, and there was not like, whereas like I feel like kids now, like they come home for a period of time or between jobs. Like our kids have been home, 2 of our 3, the other one's in college. Maybe she'll be back home. I don't know. I feel like that fluidity is so different from how I grew up. Did any of your siblings go home?
Yeah. Some of my siblings went home, and also none of my kids went home. So I'm like,
oh my God, that is so funny.
Yeah. I have verse. But I what I do in my house is a very intentional looking at our kids as people. And so like in the house I grew up in, there was a little of the because I said so as a response to things. And in my house, you'll do this. And I always remember thinking, if this is your house, where's my space? You know, like when I was a teenager and the rules were imposed that were like felt onerous. And so I didn't want to do that to my kids. Like, I think we were intentional about them getting a voice. And I know that that's criticized a lot today about how kids they've been, coddled and treated like they're real people. But I really kind of believe that's true. Yeah. They are real people.
Yeah. Well, here's one that's a little related to what you said, like the closest to what you said in terms of the being outside or, being out all day, was that all of our families, like all the grandparents, all the aunts and uncles, like everybody lived nearby. So we had a lot of family. Whereas like, yeah, we have some people nearby, but not, I'm talking walking distance nearby. So like, it was almost like the shtetl. Like, so our grandparents would come over all the time. We were always out with them, aunts and uncles. Some of them lived together. Like everybody was super accessible. And that is not the case now.
Yeah.
Was yours like
It's so funny. We're like opposites. What?
Oh, that's funny. That's why I was just starting to ask if yours was like that. You're saying it's the opposite.
No, we didn't have any family near us. My aunt and uncle, my mother's brother, moved closer to us, so they were in my childhood, but nobody else. But my in-laws, they bought a house 6 houses down from us about 25 years ago, and they were looking at the house when they were moving. They were retiring to Cleveland, Ohio. And they were looking at the house, and one of my kids was on her bicycle riding around the block, and she yelled, "Hi, Grandma! Hi, Grandpa!" And they said, "We'll take it."
So funny. Yeah.
So they did grow up with like, I hate my mother, I'm going to my grandmother's for dinner. Like they did have that escape route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
I hope to be that one day for existing grandchildren.
Okay, here's one. And I don't know if I've rewritten it. I'll have to ask my parents later. I felt like when my kids were little, I was a short order cook because this one didn't eat that and this one didn't eat that. And so constantly lots of things on the table. I don't think my parents did that. I think there was one meal. I could be rewriting it, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm going to verify it later.
Yeah. So there was one meal growing up and there was one meal raising my children. I did not do that. I mean, I have a friend who does it for her children and her grandchildren now, which she has many. Like every meal is short order cooked. And I barely got a meal on the table. Like, you eat, but everyone could take cereal or something. Like,
well, maybe that's more what I mean. I was going to say, we did always have, that's probably more true than what I'm indicating. Yeah.
I didn't say if you don't eat your spinach, you can't get up from the table. Like we didn't have
We had
that,
that growing up.
but I
had
didn't
that
make
in our
like 2
house.
things because someone said, "Oh, we had if you don't finish your food, there are people starving in Biafra." That was the line in my house growing up, and
What's
I
Biafra?
couldn't make. Oh, it's somewhere in Africa. I couldn't make the connection how my eating or not eating helped or hurt the people who didn't have food. Like I just could never make that
Totally.
because there is no link.
Totally.
There is no link. Yeah.
Here's one I said I would never do, and yet it's exactly the same in both generations, where my mom would tell me something or not. No, she would not tell me something. And she would tell like one of the other siblings like 3 times or 6 times. And apparently I do the exact same thing.
This was my remedy for this, which I never did.
Okay.
But I knew it was the remedy. I felt like I should have, like in a restaurant, a board,
Okay.
a blackboard, a whiteboard, whatever it is, where every day I would give the announcements. Because with 5 kids, someone inevitably said, "I can't believe you didn't tell me." And the thing is, they were right. I didn't.
They were probably right. Totally.
Right. And I think they would have appreciated like especially one of my kids who really likes to know the lay of the land. Like she'll make a decision about lunch based on what dinner is, right?
Yeah.
So she and I was kind of like, I don't know what dinner is. I hope there's dinner tonight because I just don't feel like cooking and no one else is stepping up, you know? So like, but I think that would have been a really good solution to many things. Like, okay, we're invited out to dinner at so-and-so's house tomorrow at 7:00, right? Like they were entitled to know that, but I like you did that thing of probably telling the same kid multiple times and none of the other kids. But I think I would do today, I would get one of those like restaurant blackboards that they have outside where they tell you what the soup of the day is or something.
That is so smart.
But I never did it.
No. We're here to tell everybody that's what you should be doing. I mean, I did when the kids like during COVID and when the boys were home in between. I remember saying, "Hey, public service announcement." That was my line. Public service announcement. Tomorrow night we're having dinner with grandma. I think we're going to this, or she's cooking, or just for anybody who's interested. Like that's what it is. And then, but yeah. No, I love the whiteboard. It's such a good idea.
No, but also today you could put it on their calendars. You could just do a calendar invite and then everyone would know and you wouldn't have to work so hard. Yeah, that could work too.
This is more testimony that I should have a 4th.
Okay, here's what I want to. That you should what?
I should have a 4th and you should have a 6th, but keep going.
Yeah, I think that's like biologically not happening. But yeah. I can't have another child, and adopting would mean a new spouse. So, and I kind of like mine, so I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
What was I just going to say? Damn, I had something. Oh, look, Jerry. Hi, Jerry. So I listen to podcasts and YouTube. You can do this on. I listen to it at Time and a Half. And you and I were bantering so quickly that I was thinking I would not be able to listen to us on Time and a Half. It would be like garbled, like, it would be like a indiscernible language. So,
are we fast talkers?
All right. We were. I don't know if we always are, but we were bantering very quickly.
That's
it was like a, Okay. So anything else?
Oh, I have one that I did not say. We rarely went out to dinner. So we went out for birthdays.
Oh, yeah.
That is not my children's existence.
Well, even in travel too, I think
they're like, "Oh, I'd like to go to," and I'm like, "Just be glad you're going to dinner."
But I think that it's just a different world. Like
I agree.
There was one restaurant around the corner. It was a big deal for us to go there. There was a diner. It was a big treat when we went. And travel was the same thing. Like at any given moment, I have to think about where in the world are my children. That did not exist when we were growing up. I remember the first plane I took. It was such a big deal. We went to Florida to visit my grandparents. It was such a big deal. And now it's like jumping in your car and jumping on a plane.
It's true.
Whatever. Okay, I had something else I wanted to say. I know. This is a big one. And this is entirely because of your team.
Okay.
So growing up, when there was sibling fighting the response was, "I don't want to hear about it. Figure it out."
Okay.
And Amy Spidell, like one of our most stellar experts said your children will only be able to resolve conflict at the level of what they know. So if they're like 5, they're going to punch each other because they don't know what conflict resolution looks like. And if you don't help teach them that, that's where they're going to get stuck. And I thought, that is amazing. That is so amazing, because really it's so much more delightful to say, get out of my space and figure it out. But instead, like, and of course there's the book Siblings Without Rivalry, which I think both of us were changed by. But that was a big difference in raising kids, was like, actually the conflict needs some tending to, not like dismissing.
Yeah, no, that's.
And on that note, have a great week, and we'll be back soon.